what's your passion? What do you love to do?
So I live in California. I'm in Glendale, which is inside LA. I am a certified personal trainer and fitness coach. And I obviously incorporate nutrition as part of that. I always have, because it is paramount to anything else when it comes to losing weight or gaining muscle. But now, for the last 2 years, I have been incorporating the Isogenics program with a lot of my clients, sometimes coaching them solely on the nutrition aspect of things. And since July 5th of this year, I am officially a shredder. I am part of Shredder Nation. I did my first ER shred, which was life-changing for me. And so now I am absolutely incorporating that as part of what I deliver to my clients. And it's very exciting.
Very cool. So I can sense the excitement, and we'll dive into that for sure. But there's like a lot of layers that you just kind of shed there. So for you, I mean, obviously I can tell your passion, your love is fitness. How long have you been involved with the fitness industry?
Well, I've always loved sports. You know, as a kid, I did track and field gymnastics for years. And then, you know, just as an adult going to the gym and so forth. But I'm a mom. I have 2 kids. And when I was like done having kids and my body was mine again, I said, okay, like it's really time to get healthy and get in shape for the long haul, because I want to be around. I want to be able to play with my kids and have energy and so forth. So at that point, I really got serious about fitness and strength training. So I hired, you know, a personal trainer, and I did all of that. And then I just really fell in love with it all over again. So I decided to become certified. And so now for 7 years, I've been working with people as a trainer. And just I'll give like the condensed version of the backstory. So when I was 37, I had 6 months until I was 38. And I said, okay, I'm going to get in the best shape of my life. Like I'm like really going to buckle down. I'm going to go for it. And that's when I hired a trainer.
Yeah.
And because I wanted accountability, I was in this mom's Facebook group, and I made an event back when you could make really long events that had like no ending point. And I said, we're going to do a 6-month challenge, and I'm going for this. This is my goal. So if anybody wants to join me, jump on board. We'll share. We'll keep each other motivated and accountable and so forth. So it was a 6-month challenge, and I called it, the name of the event was Operation MILF. Okay. So that's what it was called. Everybody thought it was hilarious. They loved it. They jumped on board. I actually ended up getting over 260 women to do it with me.
Wow.
Yeah. So when it was done, and I mean, a friend of mine became a personal trainer in the meantime, like she lost 40 pounds. She said, like it just kind of went. I thought, this really sets my soul on fire.
Yeah.
And shortly after that, I became certified as a trainer. And
I love it.
Yeah, I've worked not solely, but mostly with women and moms to just help them feel good and be energetic and have strength and confidence and so forth.
Yeah. And I want to dive into that lane, because obviously that's your lane a little bit. So hopefully if there's other moms out there, other women, you know, there's going to be things that you can speak to that I don't care how long I've been around. I can't speak to it. It doesn't matter my 20 plus years. Like, I'm not a woman, you know what I mean? Right. And I know my lane, you know, so I want to dive into that. But a couple of things I really loved is, I love how, you know, everybody sees a fitness professional or a health professional. And for me at this point in the game, I know there's always a cool story behind the professional. And I love that your stories comes from you kicking your own ass, basically being like, okay, like this is it. This is what I'm doing. And then at the same time, though, you did something really awesome where you're like, look, who's coming with me? You know what I mean? You're like, who's coming with me? And you ended up getting 261 moms, I think you said. That's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Here's another thing that stood out to me that I really loved, and I want to admire you for this. You said at 37, 38 years old, when you were done having kids and your body was yours, you knew that you wanted to be healthy so you could be around and you could play. Can you just kind of dive into that a little bit? Because I feel like, first of all, 37, 38, I just want to give you an extra kudos because most people have been like, oh, it's too late.
Yeah.
It's too late. I'm just done. I'm 40 years old, going downhill. And I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. It drives me nuts. So you did that at 37, 38. So unpack that a little bit because I know there's so many moms out there that maybe think they missed the boat or it's too late for them. Like I know your motivation was your kids, but can you explain that a little bit?
Sure. Okay. I've always, like I said, I've always been in sports, athletics, and stuff like that. And when I became pregnant the first time, I gained 55 pounds.
Okay.
I'm 5'1.5".
Okay.
So I went like this. I looked like an Oompa Loompa. It was really bad. And it was really difficult after my first baby to lose that and to get back in shape. It took me 2 years, trying to figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
And so 5.5 years later, I have another baby. And I said, okay, well, that's not going to happen this time. So, I did the right things and I didn't gain excess weight and so forth. And so getting rid of that baby weight afterwards was definitely much easier. And I just want to note, I've had C-sections both times.
Okay.
So that's a lot of other recovery that has to go into that. So, so all that aside, so then I'm 38, right? Okay. My babies are a little older now. And women, like you're saying, they just kind of let it go. It's like, okay, I'm married now. I've got kids. I have maybe, and I just want to be brutally honest. I have an excuse to be out of shape. I dedicate and give myself to my family, and I make no time for myself. I'm eating the chicken nuggets that are left over, or the mac and cheese, or I'm so busy I don't eat, and there's no way I can get any exercise in, or whatever. These are the excuses that I hear every day. And I understand that they seem valid. But the truth of the matter is, there's two things. If you want to set the right example for your family and your kids as they grow up, because they're always watching you. They are always watching and listening. And whether you think they're listening or not, they're paying attention. And they're going to take your lead. So if they see you being unhealthy, they're going to make unhealthy choices. That's number one. Number two is, if you want to be able to take care of your family and to be there for them, you have to take care of yourself, or you're going to be too tired, too sick, or what have you to do that. And as you and I know, inflammation is a precursor to so many health issues, including cancer, heart disease, diabetes, like you name it. And poor diet is the precursor to inflammation. So if you want to make sure you're around a long time, then you've got to step back and really take that time for yourself. So, and I guess there's a third thing, which is, and trust me, I am like a therapist, because I get them in my gym and I'm talking to these women, and it just, I can listen to them, and this might resonate with anybody watching. And that is, you've been married, you've had some kids, the body's kind of gone through a lot, and you don't feel attractive or sexy or confident, or maybe not as much as you used to. And that has an effect on your marriage. It really, really does. And if you're not married, it has an effect on that part of your life.
Yeah.
So, you
mean the relationship part, like the dating and the connection.
Absolutely. And that's something that not a lot of people talk about, but that's important. It's really, really, really important. Your self-confidence is very important. So what I like to do is deliver these solutions to moms, because they need them. They really need to know how to eat right. There's a lot of false information out there. how
Yep.
to take care of themselves on a tight, limited schedule, and how to live a fulfilling and happy life. And so
Yeah.
that's what I've
Mm.
basically dedicated myself to doing.
I love that. I love that so much. It's like you have your own words, but I mean, you and I, my friend, are literally on the same. We're driving on the same highway, and the end goal is the end goal, even though we might veer a little bit. You know what I mean? Kind of around.
Mhm.
Um, so two things that have popped in my brain. Thank you for being honest, first of all. As a health coach, I have the very uncomfortable conversations with people like you're talking about. So I appreciate that you do that. That is where the magic happens. This whole fluff and peanut butter bullshit that people fly around and, these little fad things. And it's like, oh, I want to lose weight. And I'm like, okay, ask that question 7 times. And every time when you get to like 5 or 6, you usually have a lot of tears coming because then you get down to the real reason why. And you're so right, Kim. Usually it's, I want to feel good with my partner. I want to feel good naked. Why is that such a weird thing to talk about? Like we are
Right.
human beings, right?
Yeah.
Stop being weird. Stop making it weird. It's the reality of life. And if you don't talk about it, you suppress those things. So kudos to
That's
all
right.
of that. For you, did you struggle with these things? Like, how did you become so aware of that? I mean, when you were mom, Kim mom up until 37, and then when you're ready to make that shift, I mean, were you going through some of this stuff yourself that you could really tune in with and relate to people today, even after your own journey?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wasn't overweight when I
Okay.
started, but I wanted to get in shape. I wanted to be strong and I wanted to feel confident.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going for like negative gain. I wasn't starting below and trying to get up here, but I was kind of like here, and I didn't even realize how the impact that those changes would make on me until I was there. And then I
Yeah.
was like, oh wow. Oh,
Yeah.
I like this. This is really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And when I hit 40, I was in better shape than I was at 30. Like
Wow.
by miles,
That's
by
awesome.
miles.
Yeah.
And so I thought, and now I'm 47, and there's no reason that you can't start at wherever you're at and then
Hmm.
achieve that goal.
For
It's
sure.
never too late.
For sure. Yeah. So what would you say, like what gets people there? I mean, well, first off, let me ask this. Stop, pause that, rewind that. I'll come back to that. What else is noticed where with yourself? Like what other things besides I totally agree with you about the confidence in relationships. Like you're going to feel better with your partner. You're going to feel
Mhm.
better if you're dating and you're ready to go and meet someone. And again, this isn't about like, please don't be so lame and be like, oh, Jesse, it's the body image thing. Like, okay,
Yeah.
put that shit to the side for a second. Like, what I'm talking about is like internal confidence where you got a little bit of swagger in your step. Like, you're
Yeah.
not like, you know what I mean? But like, you feel good. You feel your clothes feel tight. Your body feels tight. Like, you feel energized. You feel like you look and feel your best. Like, that's
Yeah.
going to put on a different perception. And I don't know about you, Kim, but I believe in the body's aura and the body's energy, and people are going to feel that energy.
Yes.
They're going to feel that energy, right? So why is health so important? Well, there's a real damn good reason right there.
Yeah.
So that's the connection part. But what else besides relationships? I mean, I guess we can take it into career. We can take it into, right? Like, what did
Well,
you notice, and what have you noticed with like some of your clients?
okay. Such a good question because I have such a great example. So, first of all, kind of on what you were just saying, when you're exercising and you're taking care of yourself, not just in the gym, but in the kitchen, because that's the majority of the time
Yep.
is when you're not in the gym. It's work, and it's discipline, it's diligence, it's consistency. So when you're achieving your physical goals, you exude a pride in what you've accomplished.
Mm,
So maybe you're a little introvert, but
yeah.
the more you achieve it, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having pride in what you've created as a
Mhm.
lifestyle and for yourself personally. And that does definitely open you up, and people can feel that
Yeah.
change about you. So I have this one mom that I was working with. She had 4 kids.
Hmm.
She was a single mom. She was struggling financially,
Mhm.
and she was gifted money by a relative, and I think she was gonna get, honestly, liposuction with it, but instead she hired me,
Okay.
and I worked with her for 3 months, um, 3 days a week for 3 months, and by when we were done, she had a wedding to achieve to go to.
Mhm.
So she was trying to achieve her goal by that wedding, which is good to
Mhm.
have a goal at the end.
Yeah.
So we did our 3 months. She looked amazing, just amazing, confident, everything. She sent me a text message saying, just telling me how by me helping her realize how strong she is physically, she had to push through a lot of mental barriers,
Yep.
and she in that whole process, because there's a lot of tears sometimes, I can't, you're thinking to yourself, I can't do anymore, I can't do this, I can't do this, and then you've got that terrible coach saying, 5 more, you can do it,
Yeah.
push, 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 and then you break through that, because it honestly
Yeah.
is more mental than it is physical. So she's coming through all of this, and she sends me this text saying, you don't know how much you made me realize what I'm capable of, and what
Mm.
I can change, how I can take charge of my life. She dumped her boyfriend, her on again, off again boyfriend, who had been unfaithful to her numerous times.
Mhm.
She took some money that she had, invested it in a class,
Mhm.
and she got certified as a permanent, semi-permanent makeup artist.
Mhm.
Now, okay, so this was 3 years ago. Now she's a multiple business owner. She
Wow.
vacations in Mexico every Christmas with all of her children. She just went to Belize for her 40th birthday. She has a new car. And she's debt free. She
Wow.
just, and she, to have seen her go from the situation she was in and just literally explode into her life, and have our relationship kind of be the catalyst for that. I mean, that right there, why would I do anything else,
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I literally almost got emotional.
Me
Like
too.
I literally have like, I mean, it's not like the tears that are gonna like fly out of me, but
Mhm.
like, I and the older Jesse has learned to come into that. Like it's okay for
Mhm.
me to cry these days. Like it never used to be that
Yeah.
way. But I'm just thinking back to like, health coaching clients, and it's kind of the same. Like you did it from a fitness perspective. I did it from, self-belief, mindset, obviously
Mhm.
nutrition, fitness. It's all wrapped into that as health
Yeah.
coaching. You know what I mean? But it tackles, obviously that, but the impact. So, I mean, what a beautiful example of how saying yes to yourself, even though she could have made up any excuse. I mean, single mom of four, financially strapped. How many people can, maybe your story is not the same, but your job is to take the story and to find the commonality in it,
Mhm.
and to be like, okay, if how can she do it, how can I relate that to my life? If she can go through that and then look what happened, like that boost in confidence that we were talking about. I mean, that's such a
Mhm.
beautiful example. Thank you for sharing that. I
Yeah.
wish I could give that friend of yours a hug, because
I
I'm
know.
I'm that kind of person. But pass that along from me,
I
that I
will. I will.
because man, what a freaking awesome story. I could listen to that's what keeps me going,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
those messages. And I know you know what I'm talking about. Like I get
Mhm.
these DMs and I get these texts all the time, and I'm like, holy crap, like here I am, like going about my life not thinking, like, you always question yourself, right? You still always
Yeah.
question yourself no matter what. And like I keep seeing those and I'm like, okay, this is why. Like
Yes.
this is why you keep doing what you do. This is why you keep
Mhm.
showing up every day. This is why, because
Yeah.
one life and one life and one life, and before you
Yeah.
know it, that compound pounding builds up, just like in your friend,
Yeah.
right? Like you
Mhm.
say yes one time, and like you said, Kim, like if you make a little win in the kitchen, you know, people tend to do you notice that people will do like five good things, one what they consider off thing, and then completely ruin everything because they bash
Yeah.
themselves on that one off thing versus celebrating the little wins? And you just showed a
Yeah.
great example of like, if you celebrate those little wins, that compound pounding of all those little wins eventually could turn into a full-blown entrepreneurship career, could turn into you being the catalyst to change the future. I mean, she changed the future of her children's lives.
Yep.
Because she was courageous enough to say yes to put her first.
Yeah.
And how many moms do you run into that feel guilty about that because they think they're taking away from their family?
That's right.
Right?
That's right. When it's truly, it's a value add when they take that little bit of time for themselves. It really is. And it's very small, and it adds up. It has that compound effect. So, if you have everybody has a bad day or an off day or a week. I mean, life throws things at you. So you know what you do? You just get up and you get back on the path and you start walking it again.
That's what I call, you heard my last Tuesday's call, I call those speed bumps now. It's
That's right.
If you're driving down the road and you accidentally don't see one of the speed bumps and you whale that son of a gun, you're gonna go flying. But do you stop driving? Do you stop going to where you're going? Do you not get in the car the next day? It's like,
right.
No, like you just get back in and then you pay more attention. And I wish that more people would do that with the health journey, because it's not an all or nothing like everybody thinks it is.
Yeah.
It's just not, right? Like it's these small wins. Anybody that I see that achieves long-term lifestyle adherence, and maybe you've seen different, but anybody that I've seen understands and eventually learns this concept that consistency beats everything else.
That's very true. I always say slow and steady wins the race. You just do the thing every day.
Yeah.
Just do the thing every day. And it might not seem like today it's going to make any difference, but when you add it up over time, that's when you see the change. And it can either be a positive change over time or it can be a negative change. If you eat a candy bar today, it's not going to make you gain 5 pounds.
Right.
It's not going to do that to you tomorrow. But if you do it every single day, then you're going to see a problem. So, if failure is part of the journey, that's how we learn. So if you make a mistake or you make a bad decision, okay, now just don't do it again and move on.
Yeah. What keeps you going, Kim? And you can use an example for yourself or from a client again. There's a lot of people that they have a lot of speed bumps every day, and I just want to be fully transparent. Like Kim and I are not sitting here being like, listen, we want you to have the mentality that you can do anything. You can push through any barrier. I've learned that through my ultra marathon running career, running 100-mile long races and climbing through the mountains of nowhere. Like I know that my body, I know that I can push further than I even ever imagined, right? Like most people hear that and they go, wait, you don't stop? You don't, like, people can't fathom it, right? But like once you do it, you get there. And then, so I don't want to make people think that like we're immune to that, because we're not. But I do believe you can get through anything. But what keeps you going? Like what kept you going and what still keeps you going on the days where you just don't freaking feel like it, or you do have a mistake or something happens? Like where do people find that drive to not quit? Because I feel like so many people quit.
I really think that it's at the end of the day, no matter who says what or does what, at the end of the day, when you close your eyes and you go to sleep, you're left with you. Okay. And do you want to look at yourself in the mirror, or do you want to sit there with yourself and be disappointed in yourself? I mean, of course you don't want to disappoint your family or your boss or your partner or whatever. But honestly, at the end of the day, you have to answer to you. And for me, it's happened enough times where I'm like, oh God, I don't feel like working out today. I have so much to do. I am busy at this, that, and I will skip a workout. For an example, I know it's not the end of the world, but at like later on, I'm like, man, I totally could have made that happen. So just don't cheat yourself, Kim. Like, don't shortcut yourself. Like, you've worked hard for so many things. Just keep it going.
Yeah.
because it's a slippery slope and I don't want to slide down that.
Mm-hmm.
So just really not having regret. Like I
Mm.
don't want personal regret. And that's what helps me push forward every day in my long-term goals as well, not just
Mm-hmm.
like personal, but business related.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because at the end of the road, at the end of my journey, do I want to lay there and have regret? Oh, I could have done this. I wish I had done that.
Mm.
That's like the worst thing, you know? So the truth of the matter is we are all capable of so much more than we give ourselves credit for,
Yeah.
whether it's physically, mentally, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the challenge of pushing through my own perceived barriers.
Mm.
So I can have that personal win. And I feel like if I can manage my life that way and I can have that intrinsic drive, then I can help my children get through things.
Mm.
You know, I
Mm.
could
Mm.
help
Mm.
my
Yeah.
husband, I can help my clients, I can help my
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the end of the day, it just comes down to, am
Yeah.
I happy with myself?
Yeah. Intrinsic. That's a beautiful word. That's something that I literally I push for. My typical health coaching program is 6 months minimum, and it's really for the reasons that you're very clearly stating. Like you can't go from zero to hero overnight.
Yeah.
We know that there's going to be bumps in the road. We know that we're going to have to do the work. We know that we're going to have to brainstorm. We know that we're going to have to sit in some shit. We know that we're going to have some good. We know that we're going to have some bad. Like it's a process, right?
Yeah.
But finding the intrinsic why,
Mhm.
I would pretty much say almost nobody comes to me going, I know I can do it. I know I'm the greatest. Like
Yeah.
I know I'm worth it. Most people they feel like a failure. They feel like they've let somebody down. They feel like they let their family down. And I always have to remind them, I'll be like, well, what about you?
Mhm.
What have you done to you?
Yeah.
Because how can you be the best mom if you let yourself down?
Yeah.
Ouch.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Ouch. How can you
Mhm.
be the best dad or the best partner or the best worker or the best boss if you are consistently letting yourself down?
Yeah.
If you don't love you, like not just love you, but like if you don't like you, like if you don't look in the mirror and be like, oh, I can hang out with that chick and talk, or I can hang out with that dude, and that you're talking to you.
Yeah.
If you don't
Yeah.
like you, like, what are you doing? Like, what's the purpose, And it's so easy for me to say that now, but I want to be so transparent. I sat in that shit for 20 plus years of my life. I was so lost and so confused. And I mean, there's times I almost, I call, you know what I mean? Like, it just wasn't good for me, a lot of depression, a lot of dealing with things from childhood. So I just want you guys to know, like, I do get it. And all I can say is after a lot of therapy and a lot of self work and a lot of crying, learning that that was okay as a male, and a lot of speaking my emotions, which wasn't really a thing that I learned, right? I've learned that it's like, it's got to be about me, because if I'm not happy, I can't, nothing else can be. You know what I mean? Like, I
Very
can't be
true.
the dad I want to be. I can't
Yeah.
be the husband I want to be. I can't be anything. You know what I mean? At the
Exactly.
end of the day, the best coach, the best whatever. So
Mhm.
that was so beautiful. Okay. Wow. This is deep shit. I didn't know where this is going to go. I mean, Kim and I didn't rehearse this. Like, I was like, look, I just think you're going to be so fun to talk to. Like, you and I are on the same lane, and let's just go,
Totally.
And I never know where these are going to go, but I'm so thankful that you brought it there. And I'm so thankful that you had the courage to go there. So again, I applaud you for that, because I know there's so many people struggling, especially women. And there's a lot of guys too. Guys, that's a whole different subject, because we were taught, to suppress the emotions and whatever. But, guys need a hug. Guys need to cry. Like, I'm speaking to you. If you're listening, like, it's okay. Like, you got to put you first, because, put that freaking ego down. There's no ego amigo. It's not serving you. It's not going to help you. So, okay,
Yeah.
let's shift a little bit, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
I'm curious how you, as a personal trainer, got so involved in nutrition, because I'm just going to be honest, that's not something I normally see in personal trainers. There's a lot of personal trainers that understand the kinesiology, and they understand the body, and they understand the working, and they understand the muscle contraction, and the supersets and the giant. They know all that.
Yeah.
But they don't know nutrition. And you said multiple times already that 90% of this game, I don't know if you said 90, but you've stretched it to be a lot. I say 90. 90% of this game is nutrition. So how did you get so in tune with that?
Well, I have to give credit to a trainer that I hired.
Okay.
Not the first trainer, the second trainer. Is an online coach. His name's Harry Lee. He lives in the UK.
Okay.
And
Harry Lee from the UK.
Harry Lee from the UK. Harry, if you're listening. He really drove that home.
That's awesome.
Part of his approach was train less, eat better. And he introduced flexible dieting, intermittent fasting, tracking how to track my macros and track my calories and why you ate this much, the whole 9 yards. It was very, very, very educational. And his whole program was amazing. It's actually it was incredible. And so I really attribute, I had just newly become a trainer when I hired him.
Okay.
And trainers need trainers too, because, we need that inspiration sometimes and that guidance. But he really introduced that to me, and I saw such incredible changes in my strength and endurance, in my physique and everything when I really focused on my nutrition. And flexible dieting I thought was amazing because it's not restrictive. And it does put you in the driver's seat because you know what you're eating. So that's how when I saw those changes in myself, I thought, wow, okay, this is something I have to incorporate. And most of my clients, I demand, all of them, I tell you, I want you on minimally. I'm going to have you track your macros. Minimally, we're doing flexible dieting. Maximally, I'm going to have you on like the ER shred, or I'm going to have you on the 30-day program or something like that. I've only had a couple clients who were like, you know what? No, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, or I'm going to whatever. And they just don't have the same results. They just don't.
Yeah. Same programming, same workout, same Kim showing up to train them.
Yep.
But yeah, if they don't put the nutrition piece combined with the fitness piece, you don't see the same results.
That's
Is that
right.
correct?
That's absolutely right.
Yeah. I mean, I can't agree with that more. I learned that the hard way myself. I mean, I think you started off one way, right? I'm sure, I know I fell in love with the gym at 18 when I got into the gym the first time, and I wanted to be the bodybuilder in the magazine, but I didn't know jack. I didn't know nothing. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to eat everything I'm supposed to. I'm learning from the magazines, not a good place to learn.
No.
Learning from the bros in the gym, probably not the best place to learn. It wasn't until many years later that I went through nutrition school and then started learning functional nutrition, root cause nutrition. The body actually has systems that are supposed to work together, and this molecule and this food helps this cell. And, I didn't realize that food was molecules and it sends signals. I didn't know any of that stuff. Right. But when you have that impactful realization, it's really a key thing. And I'm so glad you brought that up, that it's same program, same training, same weights, same everything. And I watch this. I mean, if you go to the gym and you're a regular, you might be one of them. I'm sorry to call you out, but you might be one of these people that I watch for an entire year. You show up every day that I'm there. You're dedicated. You're dedicated. And yet at the end of the year, your results are minimal. And I'm like, a year? No. And you're still getting on the stepper and you're still pounding Gatorade. It's not working. You know what I mean? It's not working. So, okay. So when you first learned nutrition, talk to me about the first few years. Like, what was the standard way of eating? I know you talked about tracking macros, and for anybody that doesn't understand, nutrition is it's really simple. Macronutrients means proteins, carbs, and fats. And I don't want to really dive into whole that realm because I'm not a fan of tracking so much. I think there's a place in the beginning to understand your limits and where you're at because most people don't know what a serving size is. Most people don't have a clue how much protein they're supposed to eat. So to use it for that, but when it slips to the addictive side of like, oh my God, I can't go to bed because I need 15 more fat grams. No,
or I'm hungry, but I can't eat because I'm already over my calories. And then it's like,
right. Like,
and then you obsess over it.
yeah, like that's not the healthy way to use it. But like, what was it like for you in the beginning? I mean, I just want to know if it was like me, like, did you learn the regular traditional nutrition way? Was it, I mean, were you doing the grains and like, what was it like for you?
I work from home,
Okay.
more or less. So it was easy for me to cook,
Okay.
and track and everything that way, weighing my chicken and measuring everything. So it was pretty easy to get into. I kind of came off of dairy a while before that. So it was just like a healthy carbs, healthy fats, good proteins and so forth. It's just a very balanced way of going about it. And I'd still once in a while have donuts are my kryptonite. They're my favorite junk food. I love them. So I'd still, couple.
Well, you have a real relationship with the donut. I could see it.
We kind of,
Mine's ice cream.
we're estranged more or less now. Like twice a year I have donuts, my birthday and Mother's Day. Yeah. And, but you make room for things like that. So I liked it because it was very balanced. Mm-hmm. I have become more aware over the years as I educate myself more on food, what is in the foods that you buy and the additives, the preservatives, the seed oils, and all of this. So over time, I became more educated and aware of that. All the added sugars. That's the other thing is like, people don't know how much sugar is in everything from salad dressing to pasta sauce, places you wouldn't even think that there's sugar in these places.
Everything.
Yeah. So over time, I really got educated on it, and it just kind of becomes second nature.
Yeah. Very cool. So you were doing the whole, I mean, because obviously I'm curious to see, I'm going to jump into the ER shred, what you've come to realize, what you've learned between that and kind of what your chosen path is now. Because ideally I want everybody to get to that end phase, what I'm calling phase 4 now. I think there's 4 phases that people are coming through, whether they're, coming from the beginning or wherever they're at. But it was grains, it was healthy carbs, it was until you started to learn, like I would eat a lot of pasta as an ultramarathon runner and an endurance athlete, thinking that I needed pasta to restore my glycogen load because that's what was said to do in the nutrition book. So I used to eat a lot of that, not realizing that the wheat of today has amylopectin A, and it has all, like, it's not the same wheat as back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't understand that. So were you kind of in that same lane too? Like you were doing all of that, even though you felt good, even though you made your body look good. The health side of it, is that what you're speaking to, where now you clean it up a little bit because you realize that certain things, maybe you could get away with it, but they're not necessarily the best for you? Is that kind of the whole?
Yes. So as I got older, so I'm 47 and women's bodies are changing. Like our hormones are just up and down our entire lives.
Yep.
So as you get older, things change. And I noticed, retaining muscle mass is harder the older you get.
Absolutely.
Okay? You obviously have less collagen. Your estrogen levels are changing. Everything's changing. So I noticed, I did this balanced diet for a long time.
Yeah.
And including the Isogenics 30-day nutritional program. I did that, I think, 6 times over the last 2 years. And it always served me very well. And then I would just eat well in between.
Yeah.
But I was noticing that foods that I thought were okay something was causing me a problem, and
Mm.
I was inflamed beyond belief, and my digestion was shot, and my energy levels were low, and I never get sick. I was getting sick. I was coming down with
Mm.
it. And I didn't know what it was. I couldn't pinpoint it. I tried all the things that I thought would work, the clean eating,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, and I, like you, thought certain carbs were needed to fuel my
Mm-hmm.
muscles so I could do certain things. So I was um I was pretty desperate. I was pretty
Okay.
desperate because as a health professional,
Yeah.
you need to set an example.
Mm-hmm.
And every body is different.
Yeah.
Everybody's an individual. But for me, I couldn't figure out what was wrong. And I wasn't looking like I should. I was so bloated. I swear, Jesse, I looked like I was 5 months pregnant. I'm not even joking. And here
Mm.
I am. I'm supposed to be in, spandex and leggings and looking fit and
Right.
everything. And it was terrible. So, um, a friend of mine, Jen, I'm gonna
Yeah.
always give her a shout out.
Yeah.
Jennifer Feralia, she's amazing.
Yeah.
She says, okay, well, I did this 11-day thing and these results, and I thought, oh my God, okay, well, I got to check it out. And the elimination made total sense to me,
Yep.
and the reset. So I did it, and within, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead too much here,
No,
but
go for it. Go, go, go. Roll with it.
okay. So within 4 days, so you do 2 steak and shake days and then 2 reset days.
Mm-hmm.
By day 5, all of my bloat and inflammation was gone.
Crazy.
Totally gone. My digestion was normal. I felt great. I had energy. Um, I literally felt like I kind of came alive again. Like I was kind of
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
locust like come out of their shell. I was like, I'm reborn. I felt like my body was my body again.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what
That's
was
so
going
awesome.
on, you know.
Yeah.
And I finished the 11 days, and I couldn't believe how fantastic I felt. And it actually shot holes through a lot of preconceived ideas that I had about high protein, low carb diets. And anyway, it's yeah, that's kind of how it went down. That's exactly what happened. And
Yeah.
so now I've done it twice, and I'm about to do a third round through. So I just kind of do it and then maintain it, because it is truly a lifestyle. It is a way of
Yeah.
living that's extremely healthy, that serves your body better than anything else that I've tried.
Mm. Wow. And we've just chatted for 40 minutes and you've shared quite a bit between yourself and clients. And you were obviously teaching them the way that you knew because
Yeah.
you were doing it. Right. And I
Yeah.
think that's the crazy thing, I'm glad you brought that up because everybody has to remember that they're in different stages. And everybody has to remember, based on whether you're an older woman or an older man, you're going to be going through different things. There's menopause, there's perimenopause, there's all sorts of things, and there's not a one size fits all. But I do believe that at the end of the day, if we take all opinion out of it and we look at just factual science, we're humans, which means that we're all basically anywhere between 80 to 100 trillion little circles, depending upon our size. Those little circles are cells. And those cells need essential vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and trace minerals in order to thrive.
Yeah.
And we know things like, higher protein. And you brought up one of the reasons why, like as we age, like we can't activate muscle protein synthesis as fast as we used to. We need more leucine, which is one of the 9 essential amino acids to stimulate that activation inside the body. So you start to learn these things, and it's great that you were able to shoot holes. So I would imagine one of those holes was that you needed certain carbs, and then you do the ER shred where we really strip back those. And we're not the keto, we're not the less than 30 grams. Like you're going to blow that away by breakfast, just FYI. You drink one of these amazing, delicious, like creamy shakes and you blew keto out of the water. So we're not that. But I have noticed that I tend to function and thrive better on a higher protein, moderate fat, lower carbohydrate, not crazy extremes where I pull them out forever, because that's silly. I mean, there's real science behind all that too. But I think there's a time and a place for that too. So when you do this, you explain coming out of a cannon or out of I don't know what you were doing. You were coming out of an eggshell.
Yeah,
like a bird coming out of an eggshell or something like that.
A locust shedding its shell.
Okay. So I mean, that's some crazy stuff. And what did you think about the meat? Because everybody gets a little scared about the meat, right? We've heard some bad things about the meat, but I mean, what can you share about that?
Okay, this is very interesting. So before,
yeah,
I would eat chicken, tuna fish, and turkey.
Okay.
And I never ate red meat because it's hard for me to digest. And after years of eating tons of turkey, like every day, turkey burger, turkey bolognese, whatever, I found out that my body doesn't actually digest turkey very well, and it makes me gassy. And I was like, wow, how about that? So no more turkey. So now I'm down to like eggs, chicken, and tuna fish. So when I did this, I had a lot of trepidation about eating red meat. And obviously you get grass fed because that's what to do. So I made a steak, and it was the first steak I'd had in, God, I don't know, 10 years.
Wow.
And it's like a long time. And I loved it. It was amazing. My body was like, thank you. This is what we need. And, I realized it wasn't the meat that was hard for me to digest. It was the other things I was eating along with the red meat. So bacon, eggs, and steak was while I'm on this program, bacon, eggs, and steak is a normal lunchtime, or like a couple burger patties with some butter and fried eggs on top or whatever.
Yeah.
And so my husband was like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. She's actually eating meat, like he's like, I used to have to cook dinner for him, and then dinner for me, and then and that part was awesome. And it made me think of like one other thing, which was something you were saying about the meat. Oh, people are like, oh my, when I tell them about the program, they're like, oh my God, it's so much meat. I have to eat so much meat. It's 7 meals.
7 days.
Over 11 days, you're having 7 meat meals, not even 3 meat meals for 7 days. It's 1 meal a day for 7 days.
Right.
So then I tell them that, and they're like, oh, okay. It's actually not that much meat. It's not less than that.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah, it's so crazy. And again, this isn't a call to dive into it, but we've been lied to about meat. Look, you can literally get polyphenols by eating regenerative farmed steak. Like there's been tests that show that like the same thing that we used to think we could only get from plants, if those animals eat those plants, you can literally get polyphenols from the meat. And we're not saying don't ever include vegetables. We're not saying don't bring things back in, but there's such a healing response that happens. I mean, your body was probably craving iron. It was craving magnesium. It was craving all the trace minerals that we don't really tend to think about every day because it's always macros, proteins, carbs, and fats, And I'm like, what about the trace minerals? And you got that from this the most bioavailable dense nutrition on the face of the planet. And no wonder why your body said thank you. Now, what have you noticed with? I know you've helped like 10 other people. Is that right now? Like through the ER shred? Is that did I get that right?
Yeah, it give or take.
What's been the common result for those people?
They have no more cravings, like for crap food, sugar, alcohol, that type of thing. Their cravings are gone. Their inflammation is gone. Their bloat is gone. A lot of them, obviously, they lose weight because you're putting the right foods into your body. Some lose more weight than others, but one for one, the cravings are gone, and the bloat is gone, and the inflammation is gone. 1 for 1.
Wow. Yeah. And I mean, again, your focus is moms, women, when you can lose that inflammation, when you can lose that bloat, when you can lose that I mean, I can't imagine and I don't mean weight by like weight on the belly, although that happens, but like the weight that gets lifted off of someone
Yeah.
when they get that. I mean, gosh, like, wow, what a good feeling to know
Yeah.
that like a little piece of what you might have done, can help them be a better mom and can just give them more energy to do one more thing, to just get
Mhm.
through that one last thing before it's bedtime, right? And then
Yeah.
it's like, okay, freedom,
That's right. Or you can run around with your kids or your grandkids, like, and I'll
Yes.
tell you, Jesse, honestly, the thing for me, like I always say, I educate my clients to they don't need me. Like I train my clients out of me having a job. And the thing about this program is it puts you in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
So you go, okay, I know that I can get to a baseline. I can make my body feel good. And then
Hmm.
as I add foods back in, I know what works for me and what doesn't work for me. So I
Yeah.
just do what works. If
Yeah.
I deviate from that path, I do it decidedly. I'm going to go on vacation and I'm just going to live it out.
Hmm.
Good. You know what you're in for and
Hmm.
you're there for it. And
Yep.
when you come back, you get right back on the track and
Yep.
you do it again.
Yeah.
And you never have to be at the effect of food or at the effect of your body and its reaction.
Mm.
And and this goes for anything in life. If you know enough about something, you you can't be negatively affected by it. You are in you're a cause over it,
Yeah.
And the same goes for your body. So between exercise and nutrition, if you know what to do, there's literally you can do it. There's
Yeah.
no mystery. There's no
Yeah.
problems. And that weight lifted off of you, that worry or that like, oh my God, like I don't want to enjoy myself because what if I gain all that weight back? Or
Right.
what if it's never gonna happen again?
Yeah.
And that is so freeing as anybody, as a woman, knowing like I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one of those beautiful things about the ER shred is what I've come to realize is like the power that it
Hmm.
gives to someone else. Like,
Hmm.
it was whenever and I was in the mentality like, you get trained in the beginning and then you feel like you're the authority figure of that thing, right? Like that's how nutrition trains you. And it's like you study this thing and you pass this test and you got board certified and
Yeah.
all this stuff. And it's like, okay, I got it. Like I can help everybody. And as you go more and more and more, you realize you're like, shit, like I don't have the answers for anybody's life. Like
Mhm.
they have the answers for their own life. And then I shifted to learning how to get people to tap into that, right? And when people can tap into belief in themselves, knowing that they know,
Yes.
especially when it comes to food, because again, we've already given you the examples of why food's important, why you should put health first, because it's going to impact every other damn area of your life. Like
Yeah.
that's just the reality of how it's going to happen, no matter how you look at it. So this is going to be like the starting point, which is why I feel so amazed because I get to be like that starting point and just share this information. And if it sticks with
Mhm.
people and they can find something that works with them, but it doesn't have to be just this way. And it doesn't have to be just this way, right? Like I can eat broccoli and asparagus because I know it works for me, but I also know other people that can eat broccoli and asparagus and it will rip their stomach apart and they'll be in the bathroom all day pooping themselves.
Yep.
So that's what's called an individual food blueprint.
Yeah.
And the ER Shred protocol, like, yes, it's an 11-day protocol, like you talked about, where you only do this for these 11 days because we want it to be simple. We want you to bring it back down to baseline. And then from there, Kim, I look at that as like my foundation.
Yeah.
And for me, people say, well, oh, I didn't cleanse, or oh, I went out to dinner with my girlfriend, so I'm not shredding. And I'm like, what the hell do you mean you're not shredding? Like I ate ice cream, I'm still shredding. And I think the mentality of that is really how you live life now is like you do an 11-day and then you go into maintenance. So can you just very quickly, because I really want to respect your time and I've already gone over, but what does maintenance look like for you real quick? Like people always get so confused about that. So like, what is maintenance after coming off of an ER shred? How do you use that as the foundation and then build your own framework?
So when I finished the first one, I started what I knew were pretty simple foods to add back in one at a time. And I just added one thing each day. I journaled it. I kept track. How did my body feel the next day? And so forth. So that I started to build a list. And I knew that I had these foods that I could eat. So I would still do a shake in the morning. I would incubate my shake and have my butter coffee. I love my butter coffee. And have my meat meal at lunch. I might have a second shake in the evening if it's busy, or I'd have a second meat meal, and then I'd have a vegetable with it. Like, and then maybe the next day I want to have fruit as a snack. So I know berries are great with me. So I'll have a little bowl of berries. But I still have the, like you're saying, foundation of the protocols that I use for life, for every day. I don't personally, I have not ventured into starches. Like I don't, not even like sweet potatoes. No oats, just because I just haven't yet. I have decided to just take it really slow and, stick with what I know works. Add maybe, now I'm kind of to the point where I might add one new food a week.
Okay.
Because I'm happy with where I'm at. I have an array of foods. My body is happy. That's kind of how I'm doing it. And but really just still focusing on the protein intake so I was curious, what are my macros these days? Like I haven't opened up my fitness ages. So today I was like, I'm gonna just throw in my food. So by now I'm already at 138 grams of protein for the day, and I still have like another meal to go. So it's like 138 grams of protein, about 35 grams of fat, and 30 grams of carbs, something like that. So for me, the high protein is really it works. I mean, I've never been able to get that much protein in my body before. And so I just kind of stick with the basics and then add a few things here and there.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, your ratios are different than mine, obviously, but I'm like 225 grams of protein. I'm like 150-ish grams of carbs, and then fat, kind of dependent upon the activity level of my day and the workouts and stuff, depends on what I need. But like, I just eat, and my foundation is 2 meal shakes a day, 2 protein shakes. Sometimes it's a third meal shake. Then I have my big meat dinner with some veggies if I want, or, a couple little things here. I usually have sauerkraut and olives and a little bit of grass-fed cheese. And those are my sprinkles. But my foundation is making sure that protein is non-negotiable, because there's just too much science that backs that. This is not my opinion. Like, you need protein every day to stay alive. Like, you need protein to survive an injury. You need protein to build life. So kudos to that. And then you got to figure out your sweet spot. And if your sweet spot, with carbs and fats, playing around with that. But also too, there's a very big difference between lumping carbohydrates as just carbohydrates, right? Like, I need people to understand that berries and vegetables are very, very different than flours and grains and sugars. Those are all carbohydrates. But I feel like so often people go, oh, carbohydrates, pasta, bread, and I'm like, you realize vegetables are carbohydrates, right? And they don't realize that. And I'm like, berries and veggies play a very different role. And then you have the other stuff. I would highly recommend that the other stuff is like very, very, very little. It's like a tiny topping, as like, just like, I call that like living life a little bit, I guess. I don't know, because I think
indulging a little bit.
Indulging, treating yourself, whatever you want. Your donut on Mother's Day, and I forgot the other one, Christmas, Mother's, something like that.
My birthday.
Okay, your birthday and Mother's Day. So that's your treating yourself. So that way there's still like, oh, I got something to look forward to. You're not completely taking it, but then you realize that like, this is my foundation. This is how I build. So that's so awesome. Okay, cool. All right, Kim, last thing.
Yeah.
Any last advice that you could give to somebody sitting on the fence, any moms? Also, too, I just want to put a shout out to you. Any moms that are out there that are struggling, any women, that's Kim's lane. Like, reach out to her, get on her Facebook, send her a message. Like, she knows what the hell she's doing. I've watched the transformations. I've seen her in action. Like, please reach out to this woman and let her help you. But any last advice that you want to give to anybody sitting on the fence?
I would just say that 11 days, do it. It's not the next year of your life.
Yep.
Do it. See what can be achieved and see how you will feel. Because it's not, it's a small change that's going to be life changing. Okay. And you know what? If it doesn't work for you and you don't like it, it was 11 days.
Yeah.
No sweat, you know.
Love it.
But you're not going to know what's available to you until you get down and you do it. So I say just go for it.
I love it. And the very last question that everybody's got to get asked, what does it mean to you to live the shredder life?
It means to be, like I was saying before, completely in the driver's seat of your health and how you feel, with zero, like you have that power of being in control of your health. Honestly, that is what it is, to feel good and to have that vitality every single day. Yeah, that to me it's super powerful, and I want that for everybody.
I love it. I do too. I do too. We're on the same mission. So I hope everybody takes you up on it. I hope everybody joins. I hope everybody clicks. If anything, go to www.ershred.com. Welcome into our community. It's free. Have a look around. Look at what's happened for other people. Be a fly on the wall. You don't even have to say anything. Just get your ass in there and see what's available, and then have the courage to say yes to you. I mean, that's the biggest thing. So Kim, I can't thank you enough. This was seriously one of the most enjoyable conversations. Just the fact too, that you're a fitness professional. I told Sean from day one, I need more younger people and more fitness professionals. Like, I need them to understand the power of this, because health is our greatest wealth. Like, without that, we have nothing. And imagine, Kim, imagine if we understood this at 20, instead of you and I waiting until we were mid-30s, early 40s. Imagine the shit that we could have done. And I wish everybody would understand that you can make such a bigger impact in your life starting younger, and you don't have to wait. And if you did wait, it's never too late. It is never too late. I have seen 80-year-olds do this. It is never too late. So I can't thank you enough. I seriously enjoyed this conversation. I hope you guys did too. Drop into the comments. Let Kim know, what are the things that you pulled out of this? What's the value? Smash the share button. And again, if you're looking for help, reach out to her. She definitely knows what's going on. So Kim, thank you so much. Have an awesome night.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.